Hello, everyone, and welcome to our Distinguished Speaker Series with yet another distinguished guest. I am thrilled to introduce to you today's guest, all the way from Chicago, United States of America. Please welcome Maamebi Arthur. Maamebi, if I'm butchering your name, I know you have a long name, so I'm so sorry for that, but I welcome you. Thank you for joining us for our Distinguished Speaker Series.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm
Oh,
really
you're
excited.
you're very welcome. So, folks, let me introduce Mambi a little bit in more detail to you. She's, as you said, joining us from Chicago, USA. Mambi is the founder of CEO of Arthur Benefits Solutions. She is an industry leader and a master creator of sustainable benefits and HR systems to support small and mid-sized organizations. Mambi is a single mother of three from Chicago and a benefits consultant with 15 plus years in employee benefit strategy, design, and administration, as well as assisting in selecting the right HR systems to support changes. She has worked with HR people, teams, and company leaders who want to transform their organization for better business outcomes through inclusive benefit programs for employees. We're going to talk in depth about, well, we're going to learn from you, Mambi, how and did you end up this is remarkable for what you do, but your story of how you reached to this point and a little bit about your business and your clients and the kind of solutions that you've provided. So tell me a little bit about yourself. Where were you born and where did you grow up?
Yes, thank you for that. That was a beautiful, lovely introduction, Asma. So coming all the way actually from Oakland, California, born there, bred a little bit in California, and moved all over. Military brat, so
Ah.
moved all over the place, and landed here in the Chicagoland area, and left and came back, and this has been a place that I can definitely call my home.
Oh, wonderful.
So when I think about, um, you know, where I came from and how I ended up in this place, I pretty much started my career here in the Chicagoland area,
Mhm.
with a company that's now public, but it was a private company at the time, and was really focusing on benefits. I didn't even know if I wanted to do benefits. I was like, why am I doing benefits? Like, this is like a weird thing. But I ended up finding that I really, really enjoyed it, from a standpoint of not just the system solutions, but also from the people solutions.
Mhm.
I really enjoy connecting with people. And I really enjoy being able to build solutions that are sustainable. And so, as you mentioned, that has always been my niche. So I like to figure out ways to make things easy and better for people. As you mentioned, I'm a single mom of three children. I've got to make it work and work all the time. And because
Well,
there's
that's what moms do. Yeah.
yeah, because there is Murphy's Law. I just had a conversation with one of my clients about that today. And so when I think about all of that, that goes into every facet of our lives. And
Mhm.
so I really decided to focus on this small to mid-size organizations, because those are the ones that I found after working with plenty of organizations, startups, small, mid-size, very large corporations, the the ones that really have the struggle because the lack of manpower are the smaller folks, are the smaller to mid-sized organizations or the startups. So that is where, I like to roll up my sleeves
Mhm.
and get in there and really and really go there. And so when I think about, like, okay, I got into benefits, how did I go from there all the way to saying, I think I'm going to do this myself.
Well,
And
let's talk about that in a sec. I want to
yeah,
see how you arrived to that point
yes,
all the way, because you do have that entrepreneurial spirit, and we have been
yes,
working together for this long. You've done a
yes,
fantastic job of building your business, and we, of course, our entrepreneurial audience would love to know
yes.
how did you do it. Like you're doing fantastically well,
Thank you.
but So let's talk about. So you said you grew up in California. You come
Yes.
from a big family, small family. What is your number in the siblings?
Yes. Oh, I'm the middle child.
Oh,
So my
there you go.
sister, yes, I have an older sister, a younger sister, and a younger brother in that order.
Hmm.
And so I've always beat to my own drum. I
Hmm.
mean, my younger sister and younger brother, I would say, followed all the rules. I did not. My older sister, I would say she followed most of the rules. I didn't follow any of the rules. I was always the rule breaker.
Hmm.
And the shaker, I would say that. And and so that lends itself to a lot of things, right? It lends itself to being able to be creative. It also lends itself to some trouble. And I like to create trouble sometimes because
What we call trouble, right? What we call trouble for kids. But
exactly.
if you take that with you to the corporate world, it comes differently, right? And we're going to talk about that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's very, very different because
Hmm.
that's solutions driven because you're shaking things up and you're kicking the tires. And so
Ah.
I intend to do that. Um, so yeah, so through that, I mean, going to school, I was the person that was always kind of like bored about some of the things that they were teaching. It was like, why do we need to know this? And how is this going to get me to the next level? I had always
Mm.
myself, somewhere else. I had always pictured myself doing something else. So I thought about it because my parents are immigrants. They came here. I'm first generation born here from Ghana.
Oh, oh, nice. Okay.
So, so that work hard,
Work
that
ethic.
tenacity, God being the pillar of our lives, those were critical areas for me. However, I knew God wanted me to have some fun too doing
Hmm.
it. And
Hmm.
so I took that and just decided to work hard but also find like where my calling was, like how am I going to be able to serve.
What age were you? Because that's kids usually don't think like that, and they're not like, oh, with that much of focus. Not very many people. How old were you when you knew what you were going to do in your life?
Yeah, I knew I was going to do something. I didn't know exactly what it was going to be, but
Mm.
it was about 15. And I had my best friend, Paige Paige Brown, her and I would literally put together vision boards on
Hmm.
what kind of car we wanted to drive,
At
what
age 15.
at age 15, what
Wow.
kind of
Okay.
house we wanted to live in, what kind of life we wanted to live. Now, we didn't necessarily know how we were going to get there, but we knew we were going to get there. And
Hmm.
that was it. And so I kept that same remnants and that vigor throughout my life. Even when I went into careers and went into jobs, I would put my very best foot forward. Even if I didn't like it, I would just do it, put it
So,
forward.
what kind of careers have you had? Like, what kind of jobs have you had in this process? Because clearly,
Yes,
you must have studied HR or have had that experience in that. But
absolutely.
prior to that, what other jobs did you had?
Oh my gosh. So I worked at the Jelly Belly factory. And that was a very interesting job. I enjoyed it because of the jelly beans. And then I love children. So like that was a fun job to have
Mm.
because it gave me the front facing. And I worked at Carol's restaurant as a hostess. I worked in, I mean, customer service, which is a very difficult job.
Mhm.
Although I service customers, there is a level of, I have a level of control with it that you don't necessarily normally have in a customer service sort of
And
role.
you learn how to take on challenging situations and provide solutions to it.
You
In the right in that process, that's the biggest learning out of I have had a customer service job in my younger days also, and that's what I learned because I was like every time there'd be a yelling customer, I would be thrown into to face them, and then
yes,
we would find a solution and they would leave happy, and that's where I
yes.
learned how to turn things around instead of cutting off ties with people.
Exactly. And so that was definitely a pillar, and being able to like you know um work with people from every different walk of life and a
Mm.
different thought process, or learning how to slow down. I tend
Mhm.
to move very quickly. My cadence is fast. So even on this call, I have to actually sit back And
You made such a good point there, Mambi. This is such a wonderful point that you made, and we've had this discussion with other people as well. We've got Akilo from Ghana says hi.
hi.
Thank you. So we have had those discussions with others also, where they don't realize that slowing down is actually a solution to a problem. Sometimes when we're going too fast, right, we tend to miss. And you tell me, why do we need to slow down? That's also important,
Yes. Well, I personally slow down because I need the folks that are hearing me
Mhm.
to actually hear me versus
Mm.
just listening to the words. I need them to actually connect with me and actually understand what I'm asking for, or they're asking for. So I will repeat back to folks, depending on the situation, exactly what they're asking me to do, and then slow down in a way that they can better understand so that we can come up with a solution.
Solution, true.
It's
And
very
same goes for the business. Like sometimes when we're too fast, we tend to miss out or tend to deviate from our vision and path. And in order to refocus, we need to slow down. And
simple.
it's not we're not losing time, we're not losing resources. It's actually more beneficial because you're hitting the mark more so, as you said, to find the right solutions for them. So
Absolutely.
tell me a little bit about a life-defining moment that actually set you on this path where you are today.
Yes, it was amazing. So I had had my LLC for 12
Mhm.
years, and I didn't really know what to do with it. I tried a lot of different business avenues, but I wasn't meeting my genius, if that
Mhm.
makes sense. So
Mhm.
we need to be focused on, okay, what am I good at? What is my genius? And how do I bring that genius to the table and serve others? I think if we keep that mindset, we'll get there. My life defining moment, that being said, that's the backdrop, was when I was met with a divorce. So I didn't end up wanting to be a single mom. It happened. And I
Mhm.
tell people that because I think a lot of people don't realize, okay, a lot of the stuff that happens in your personal life
Mhm.
defines how you're going to show up in your, you know, in your business life.
Everything
So
else, yeah.
absolutely. And so I was met with this divorce. I was devastated. Uh,
Mhm.
I was. And I'll tell you, that devastation turned into power.
Mhm.
Devastation turned into, Mommy, we're going to do this.
Mhm.
And so I said that to myself. And I said, I'm not going to allow anything to stop me now.
Mhm.
I'm doing this. And I
Mhm.
did. And so that's when, I got in touch with you, or we connected, and
Mhm.
it was like, okay, we're done healing now. Now
Mhm.
it's time to get to work, and let's make this happen.
Mhm.
And so I would say, when I think about that time, it was it was awesome, but it was also very scary. But
Mhm.
I took
It
that,
would be,
yeah,
yeah.
I took that time and said, hey,
So
you know, what's the worst that could happen? I fail. We all fail, and there's still a learning and failure.
that's something I would like. How do you deal with that fear? Because what do you think people, and coming from a corporate background also with HR systems as well as an entrepreneur, this comes up all the time. What is it that stops people from moving forward? What are those fears, and how do you handle that?
Absolutely. Well, I think a lot of times, because I went through it,
Mhm.
is the fear of like what folks call, or now is coined, the imposter syndrome,
Mhm.
feeling that you don't belong there.
Mhm.
Well, affirmations is what I have used over time to take that out of my mind. And then also just understanding, look, my life depends on this.
Mhm.
I have got to make this work. And so we're going to make it work.
Mhm.
And also to understanding that I don't always have to have all the answers. I
Mhm.
think when in your mind you think you're an imposter because you feel like you should have every single answer under the sun. And their answer is you don't. It's
Mhm.
okay to say, I don't know. I'm going to have to get back to you on that. I'm going to check on that. And when people start to see you know, like with my clients, that you're just a natural, normal person, that's what they embrace. They're
Mhm.
not going to necessarily embrace when you think you can just, railroad the entire process,
Mhm.
and make it happen. Another thing that I've also dealt with is time management,
Mhm.
and being able to say no at the right times. So, there's been times where I have, taken on certain tasks that I just knew that were just going to drain me emotionally and mentally. And being able to say no
Mhm.
to that is a gift.
Being able to say no. That's one thing that I learned, and I learned the hard way to say no sometimes, to say like where people are trying to get on board on and ready to go onto a program, and where I say no. I mean, who wants to say no to incoming money and research, revenue, but you have to in order to, because if it's not the right fit. And that actually is very, very good points, Mambi.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. So those are the two, those are the definitely the two things. And then also, I would say one last thing that I have learned throughout my journey
Mm.
is really staying on task. So I'm a lister. So I list things down, and I just take everything that's in my mind. It also decreases anxiety,
Mhm.
listing every single thing. I mean, down to, I need to put this cup back here. And there's this book that I love and I recommend to everybody, Getting Things Done. And
Mhm.
I forget the name of the author, but Getting Things Done is really like putting things in different categories of, okay, what is going to take me 2 minutes? What can I do? What is actually a project that I need to then put a little bit more
To
focus and
prioritize it. Yeah. For our audience, if you are listening and if you can look up who's the author for Getting
yeah,
Things Done
thank
and let us know in the chat, that'll be awesome.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely. Getting things done. And so definitely learned how to help prioritize. And then again, it lessens the anxiety because now I know,
Mhm.
okay, if I knock out all these 2-minute things, now I can go to the next list. And,
Mhm.
and the next list is, okay, well, who am I waiting on? Because I'm not thinking about those things that take me 2 minutes. Now I can go back and say, I need to follow up with this person. I need to follow up with that person. Okay, now to the next thing. Okay, this project, how am I going to chisel away at this project?
Mhm. Mhm.
And that's how I
And
organize.
and that shows in the projects that you do when you take that to the businesses, the corporations that
Absolutely.
you do. So now we're to the point where what made you create your own business and what
Yes.
led you, so you said you were at the point of divorce. Is did that lead up to the point where you wanted to create your own business or something else?
Yeah, it was between that and also corporate had just eaten me up and spit me out.
Mhm.
I think I was done. I think at that point, I didn't want to deal with the bureaucracy in that way. I
Mhm.
miss my consulting days when I was consulting and could just focus on the work at hand. But I needed to be able to have a seat at the table in my own way.
Mhm.
That's what led me to create Arthur Benefit Solutions. And one of the things that drove it all the way home is, oh yes, David
Mhm.
Allen.
Alan,
Is
that's the
one.
one.
I have the book in my room. I should have brought it with me. So, um, so when we think about that, being spit up, spit out and chewed, I said to myself, it's time to do this work
Mhm.
on your own terms.
Mhm.
And that is how I'm doing it. So
Mhm.
I have the audacity to say
Mhm.
no. I
Mhm.
have I set my own schedule. I beat to my own drum. I work for my clients, but I also work with my clients. It's a
Right.
very different feeling to be working so hard and then you're getting the credit versus you're giving it to someone else. That
Right.
that incentive, that appreciation is coming to you.
And control over your time, your life, your resources, and you can make as much as you like, and you can, whatever you want to, and
Whatever
that changes everything.
that
So,
changes everything.
so tell us a couple of examples of the type of businesses that you've worked with, and what kind of solutions that HR solutions you've provided them.
Absolutely. So one of the clients that I'm working with right now, I'm working on actually building an ATS system, an applicant tracking system for them. So it ranges from that all the way to I've worked with other consulting firms and
Mhm.
where I have helped build their carrier, create a carrier, which is basically like a Blue Cross Blue Shield, and built, help them get a broker. So
Mhm.
that's, like a Marshall McClellan companies or like a, who else is another top one?
So your clients are usually the Chicago area people?
They are.
Mhm.
However, I do have clients that are outside of the Chicagoland area,
Mhm.
I would
Mhm.
say, and that has been a huge benefit because I get to see how
Different,
are different.
yeah, systems,
Absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely. So, like I typically work with more national plans, and I have done some global work as well, which I enjoy.
So tell me if someone, one of your clients, and I remember, I know the story, but our audience needs to know that had you not worked with them, they would have, you saved them, I don't know, over 100K or something like that in that process just by having developed that HR system for them, and
Absolutely.
and why it was so needed.
It was crucial. So we needed to there was an ask on
Hmm.
a very aggressive tight
Hmm.
timeline
Hmm.
to change brokers, to change carriers, and to put up an enrollment platform because they were moving from the current platform they were on.
Hmm.
And at first, Asma, as I mentioned to you, I was nervous. I said,
Hmm.
I don't even know if I could pull this off. and who's going to want to work with me
Yeah.
doing this? So I came back and I said, I called in some favors, like begging, called in some favors from people that I've worked with in the past. It was a $2 million save.
Oh,
And we were able to
wow.
do it. We went through, and that was an aggressive tight line for the brokers as well. So the broker,
Hmm.
it was aggressive there. It was aggressive on the carrier. It
So
was
they were switching. You helped them switch from one area, one type of system and solution to a different type of a benefit system and solution, saving them $2 million in that process. And
absolutely.
had they not done that when worked with you, what would have happened?
Oh, it would have been a complete disaster because
Mhm.
they had already faced some issues with the prior vendor
Mhm.
where cards were not issued correctly at the right time. So people were without coverage.
Mhm.
The file feeds did not go to the proper vendors and
Mhm.
carriers. So
Mhm.
it fell apart. So just to see that I was able to help facilitate that partnership and help build that system and help make that happen. There's no other that is by far one of my biggest. I feel very blessed
Ye
to be able.
I'm sure you felt challenged, but then you feel accomplished, and they must be thanking you,
Big
right, left, and center.
time, big
But
time.
you do work. So tell me for smaller companies. Now you were talking about a large carrier here, and you work with different industry sectors, whether it's health, whether it's IT, whether it's anyone who needs an HR benefit solution system. Why would anybody need those type of systems, especially smaller companies that are, because we've got tons of startups. I work with startups all the time, so I know the kind of companies, and they've gone over,
Yeah.
right? So, for example, we worked with a salon owner who now has a franchise all over India,
Mhm.
right? So, somebody said you're a superwoman. She's doing a lot. Okay, that's awesome.
Thank
So,
you.
why would anyone need to invest in that kind of HR benefit solutions, and especially at initial stages? What type of solutions would they need generally?
Absolutely. Thank you for that question, Asma. So what I found is when people go into hyper growth, when they start up, a lot of time, oftentimes,
Mhm.
they don't even realize that they're going to get to 50 employees right away. And here in the United States, as soon as you've hit 50 employees, there's compliance
Mhm.
with the IRS.
Mhm.
And so when you start thinking about compliance, you have to have a repository, you have to have a system in place that will not only help foster your continued growth, but also to help make sure that you're compliant, that you're doing things right at the right times.
Mhm.
So that sweet spot is that 50 employee mark. And so oftentimes companies come in and they're like, oh, we'll be okay, until, they get hit with that first fine. And then it's
Mm.
like, oh my gosh, I should have done this, I should have done that. And then now it's an emergency. So what I try to do is help coach my clients on building it first,
Mhm.
because if you have it in place, it's very easy for you to then get to that hyper growth
The
because it's already
next.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Versus, paying for that fine, now having to pay for my services.
It
Now,
costs them more. Yeah. Yeah, of course. Okay. And what other types of solutions would they need in addition?
so absolutely. So that would be definitely, you got to have a system that's sustainable, that can grow with you.
Mm.
You have to have processes in place that doesn't handle just one person, that handles 100 people, 500
Mhm.
people. They have to be nimble. You have to be able to have processes in place that think big. I think
Mm.
oftentimes, people think, okay, well, I'm going to get this payroll system, and it can couple as our benefit system. It can couple as this, but no, it can't. If you want to get an all-in-one solution, your processes need to be able to support that. So if it's not, then what happens is now you're having to backtrack and
Mhm.
rework, which is then going to cost you more money, which
Mhm.
is then going to cost you, more time, and time is money. And so
So anyone who is looking to who may be newer in business and are started to grow and scale, but who are looking to have long-term sustainable business growth, and they are increasing their team size or their business size, their revenue, they would need these type of HR benefit solutions that they're working with, whether they have in-house teams or outside teams, right?
that is correct. So
Mhm.
whether it's in-house or outsourced solutions,
Mhm.
I'm an outsourced solution,
Mhm.
um, but it's got to be built right. And what I would say is, if you are going to have an in-house solution, make sure that that person does really understand the intricacies of building businesses, and as you continue to grow, they understand how to help you go public. So
Yes.
so those are the things that I have done. I have helped
Yeah.
organizations go public. I understand what those areas are from the financial standpoint, and from the HR standpoint, that you'll need
Mhm.
to be able to get you there, and get you there correctly,
Mhm.
compliant.
That's true. Oh, yes. Because I know being in Canada also, and I know there's a lot of other countries, UK, we've got
Yes,
viewers from UK and all the compliance is a huge deal. And as you said, you don't want to start paying fines first before you put these systems in. Why waste your money and time and resources? Whereas you can actually, and from a smaller company, keep your big vision bigger. That's what my takeaway from your speech,
absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
Keep your so somebody like me, like we started with a solopreneur and now I have a team of like 30 to 40 people around the world.
Yes,
So if I did my job right, I should have
yes,
hired somebody like you that would have put these benefits in HR solutions in place,
exactly,
right? And
absolutely.
amazing, amazing. So what's your next step for yourself? Where do you see yourself going, like given?
Yes. My next step, I would say, is to continue to grow and scale.
Mhm.
And I am looking to continue to take on more clients,
Mhm.
continue to grow, and also, hire,
Mhm.
bring someone on that is going to, be able to find the fruits in
Mhm.
what I enjoy doing. So looking forward to that as well.
So somebody who actually gets the vision of your company and your organization, because you work with variety of different types of people, and you're hiring right now to build a team that actually supports that vision and is there for the long term for you with you.
Absolutely.
That's amazing. That's a great story for a single mom whose divorce actually threw her into the deep end of the pool.
Yes.
You're raising three kids, running a huge, like a wonderful organization that actually provides transforms companies literally, and you've helped some of them go public. That's awesome. I did not know that part actually.
Mhm.
So congratulations on
Thank
that. I
you.
really, and I know that we will be providing all the links if they want. You provide them free. Tell them what is it that you do
Absolutely.
when they approach you.
Absolutely. So I always do a needs analysis and
Mm,
a free scope. So
mhm,
I will be able to, tell you what your company, based on what you need,
mhm.
what my company can do to support your organization, and we will provide a free scope to better help you understand what it is, what those costs are, and how we're going to do it. And then we jump right in. Typically, from the initial call to the scope and actual actions, it's literally less than 15 to 30 days to
Mhm.
actually start making an impact.
Okay, so they can schedule a meeting with you. We will provide all the links underneath our video on our YouTube channel as well as in our Facebook pages. We obviously, and you can find Mambi there. So she's going to provide you a free assessment. That's awesome. I would take up her time up for that for sure. Remarkable journey, Mambi. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your solutions and your journey and your life story with us. If you can do it, anybody can do it, given the challenges that anybody has. So if you want to connect with Mambi, find her links down below on our video. And please, this is probably our last session, last Distinguished Speaker Series interview for this year, for 2022, because we're almost to the end. We're going on holidays right after, and then we'll be back in January, and we've got those scheduled to come and go with you. So I think we are, ending this at an amazing note with a remarkable guest today. So thank you for those of you that joined us live. You can find this in the recording on our YouTube channel as well as on our Facebook, and it will be shared everywhere else also. Mambi, I wish you all the best. You've done wonderfully well
Thank you so much.
for the next year. Thank you for joining us, guys, and I'll see you in 2023 for sure.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
guys.